Welcome back to the European LCS, where H2K are up 2-0 in the battle for third place in the summer split. We just saw how everyone here is enjoying themselves as well. Send out everything you want with the hashtag LCS, and we will check all of that out. For now, though, let's talk about the series so far. I saw a lot of similarities between game 1 and 2. What about you guys?
A lot of similarities, all that start in the lane swap, to be honest. It just is becoming evident that UOL find themselves unaware of what they should be doing in a lane swap at times. You know, they're slower to the punch than H2K, and when it comes to support positioning, jungle positioning, they're really leaving a lot to be desired.
Definitely, the biggest issue is how the Unicorns of Love are playing out the lane swap. Because I like to think lane swap is like a scenario where, like a game of pool. You hit the white ball and it hits another ball, and it's like action causes action. And with that in mind, there is no room for something that is like crazy. That's why in these scenarios they seem very, very clueless in the lane swap scenario, and it doesn't really work out for them. And of course, H2K is getting far ahead every time.
Yeah, and the casters talked about it a lot, starting on the stronger side and then ending up on the weaker side, where that was where eventually Lulex would go in to the enemy jungle, get that pick to start things off. It put them so far behind. The Shen support ended up getting level 4 right as Thresh got level 6. It was a big, big difference. This was actually the invaders that started the whole game off, started just a chain of events and put Unicorns on the back foot, which they would try and recover from, but ultimately, H2K are just accruing too much of a lead in the early game for the Unicorns to come back.
Yeah. And we have to mention it once again, the Elise and RuneGlaive junglers in general were the big question marks for Lulex, but he said, game 2 here, when it matters, I'm going to do it, and that is something to be proud of for him.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. He has shown us that he has kept the Elise in his pocket for a long time. But one thing that is quite worrying for me...
Got a tickle spider in your pocket.
Come on.
Yeah.
Now I feel all weird. No, but to be honest, like the Corki first rotation, it kind of highlights how scared they are of H2K taking the first rotation on red side. And first picking Corki just because you're scared kind of shows the fact that you have nothing else to play than Corki. And that is terrifying for me.
And I actually really like that adaptation in picks and bans, because if Unicorns got lulled into a false sense of security in game 1, where H2K had the option to first pick Elise, choose to ban it, that kind of says to the Unicorns, maybe they still don't play Elise. Maybe they're not confident in it to
Really
first pick it. So it baits them into leaving it open and then leaving it to second rotation. So good adaptation by H2K to bait Unicorns out, and they fall for it.
I would love to add, like, when it comes to H2K's play, though, I think they just need to relax a bit. There's this famous poet I like called Drake. He has a saying called, they need to replace their trigger fingers with Twitter fingers. They need to calm down a bit, play with more patience, because they're dying all over the place.
They were, and to me, if we look at the H2K that we have as the perfect image of H2K, a little while ago now, strategically very strong, playing out those lane swaps, I almost feel like they are getting back to that, but one step at a time. Their jungle pressure early is back, their lane swaps early is back, and the only thing that is missing now is how they play the mid and the decision making.
Will we see H2K's final form soon? I hope so.
We'll see what happens. We're also going to check in with you guys on Twitter, where earlier we asked who you thought will win the regional qualifier and make it to Worlds. And at Andreas Prediger wrote, Fnatic will win over Origin and H2K will win. These 3 teams would represent Europe at its finest. Interesting.
I have to agree. As much as I would love to see some of what Unicorns have to offer when it comes to their different unique dynamics in picks and bans that we actually haven't seen a lot recently, I feel like sending those 3 teams is the strongest chance that Europe will have.
Yeah, I have to agree simply because the results speak for themselves. Like, I cannot come in with my bias, of course. I want Rocket to proceed and we're doing our best, but based off of results, obviously H2K, Origin and Fnatic would be the best representative at this time.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. It isn't over yet, though. It is 2-0 for H2K. The Unicorns can still come back in this one. So let's go over to the guys at the desk to take us into picks and bans.
Thank you very much, Shocks, and the rest of the analyst desk. And props to you, Marta, for a little bit of honest feedback. They're talking about Europe's chances at Worlds and who's going to give the best show. H2K and UOL are fighting for the championship points at the moment. Whoever wins here will have the highest, whether it goes to seeds or whether or not they qualify. Quick reminder, though, before we carry on. Later today, we will be heading over to the American LCS, which is taking place in Madison Square Garden. You can actually see the stage being built up, where Team Liquid and Impulse will be doing battle.
Yeah, and if Fnatic come ahead of Origin tomorrow, that means whoever wins this match, this best of 5, will actually go to Worlds just by having the most championship points available, because obviously they have points from Spring Split. Origin wasn't in the Spring Split, so definitely interesting perspective, because everybody expects Fnatic to win, so in H2K's heads, they could be one match away from potential just auto qualification for Worlds, avoiding that regional qualifier
Right.
at the end.
Whichever
But
team wins is supporting Fnatic tomorrow
Yeah.
because that's
Sure, of
their
course,
ticket to Worlds.
Of course, but is this going to make H2K play a little more safe? Or are they going to keep playing very greedy? What's
know.
going to change for last game? I mean, they've won 2 games so far, but it hasn't been pretty in the sense that they keep getting a good early game and then have a messy mid game that needs to be fixed. Pick and ban, though, is their first stage where they have been doing well, compared to Unicorns of Love, who seems stuck on this Corki here. It's a very early rotation.
you have a lot of liberties when you're playing a pick and ban against the Unicorns of Love, though. They're pretty much handing it to you on a silver platter. Kalista banned out, Lulu banned out. They know so far that they have to ban Sivir again. This gives H2K the option, do we want at least first pick, or will we ban it and just do a different adaptation? This time they ban it, so they have a different pick in mind. They're gonna force Unicorns of Love to ban Sivir here,
Yeah.
and then they want something. What do they want?
Oi!
So-
That's going to throw a spanner.
Right here, normally, you would always see Sivir pick coming in for Yanin. You take it away from Vardax, which is the key thing, and no real surprise.
Nope.
This is what you gotta keep doing. So Unicorns are now once again in a situation where I guess they dodged the bullet of Tristana, but now you're facing with what has been the best AD carry for H2K all split long, the Sivir coming in. So these engages we have seen, where they have struggled a few times to find the right engage, now becomes a lot more powerful.
Yeah, being out of position for these engages obviously becomes a lot harder when you have On the Hunt buffing your entire team, speeding you up, so misstepping will be a lot more forgiving and also just easier to find the targets that you want. However, Rio will have to change. His champion pick no longer has that assassination potential. To see how they react. Also, Unicorns of Love have the counter pick in mid lane. Honestly, haven't really used it too much so far. Would have actually rather see it go to visit Chachi. I mean, Gangplank is an option to put pressure in this matchup.
Yeah, he can use it as a last pick. I do think Gangplank as well is safe enough if you want to blind pick him.
Agree.
He has very few bad matchups up at the top lane where he can't, like, he can farm against basically everything. So that could still be an option. Otherwise, Varus is open for the last pick. Corki is still open if they want to run a full poke composition, which is what they're building for right here.
And you can see the pivot there in terms of the support pick. Braum for Hylissang. We talked extensively about that support earlier today in game 2. And just all of the strengths that it can bring, especially for Hylissang, who's got quite a lot of experience on that champion.
Yeah, and the thing is though, H2K see exactly the same we do. Okay, Nidalee has been locked in for Horo. It is a fantastic early game jungler. Seen a lot of success over in LPL when we see someone like Swift use it. However, if you're expecting the Corki to come in and even the Varus last pick, you can start already now building a composition that should be able to pick them off. Lee Sin can kick them back and apply early pressure, can not match the Nidalee, but at least he can try and be a bit more backup counter gank.
Both junglers are incredibly aggressive, and it all depends who gets the first jump. If Nidalee finds you in the jungle while you're doing a camp, connects a spear, you're dead. If Lee Sin finds you have a first, connects the Q, follows up, kicks, you'll likely die as well. So there's a lot of aggressive play potential on both sides. Worst case, they just dodge each other in the jungle. They have high enough of ability to dodge the fights if they don't want to. We'll have to see if H2K can actually use this Thresh Lee Sin combination. If you can see some kicks into hooks, some fancy lantern plays, because so far synergy between Lulix and Kasing hasn't been the greatest.
Might just see that blind pick Gangplank we mentioned before, so you keep that last pick for power people, and even in a poke composition, Gangplank does really well.
Last second change though for the Unicorns of Love. Gonna go for that tank top lane. If it's a pivot to the tank top, what mid lane is Power of Evil gonna play? You do have AP from the jungle, you've got a lot of sort of late game from Tristana. Is he gonna go safe?
I want something with good zone control, because I think Braum excels with mid lane champions that can build up this zone control. If you connect a Q, Winter's Bite, you don't even have to proc it because it slows targets down enough that your mid laner can follow up with those cooldown abilities. Honestly, and the lane Braum Tristana, I'm a super fanboy. I love this lane. This is my favorite lane to play, watch, and just commentate about, because there's so much outplay potential, mostly with aggressive jumps on the Tristana, because Braum can chase you with his own jump, put up the shield, and force the trades to be 2v1 against the support, while Tristana's hammering away on a single target, which he does incredibly well.
It is a lane though where Unicorns of Love, as we've mentioned time and time again, they don't tend to do that well or be aggressive, the bottom lane. They're gonna have to be aggressive if they want to use this lane properly. Rio might just go for an Orianna if he wants to safe pick now that Ahri has been banned away for him. Instead though, blind picking the Fizz.
Fizz was the only champion that Ryu played when he picked up a win against Origin. All other champions were losses. And we touched on the 2v2 interaction of Tristana Braum versus X, Y, or Z. We've not had standard lanes this series yet. H2K have been able to get deep wards down and have been able to dictate the first few minutes of gameplay. UOL have to change something if they want to get those standard lanes.
Yeah, we always get the standard lanes delayed after the first tower goes down, and it's been in favor of H2K, so we have seen Hylissang and Vardax being put in a disadvantage already from that. And H2K, in this case, can just look to do exactly the same, even though Shen does a lot better in a one-on-one lane.
It's a bold move by H2K though. This composition that they've drafted together is... Yeah.
I think we're going to have to find different superlatives.
I'll open up the Source after this segment, or whine a little bit, because they're going all in. Before we go to the inevitable Devour kill, Power Evil just locked in. H2K will have to snowball. They have very few what they call comeback mechanics if Ryu falls behind, because he will eventually become the split pushers when they rotate Yarn into the mid lane. Sivir is their only reliable wave clear as well, so if these two key members fall behind, which is obviously really hard because you have Stan United to help you out, then H2K is in trouble. However, Unicorns, yeah, kill mid.
Reminder, this is 5:14, where changes were made, but this is Devourer, Kayle mid, and it left a lot to be desired against Fnatic last week. Yes, UOL did get 1 or 2 early dragons, but at the end of the 30-odd minute game, PoE hadn't even completed his sated Devourer.
In case people haven't seen it, Devour into Nash's Tooth is like the 2 key items in the start. Problem is, it takes a long time to scale up to become really relevant. It has a lot of consistent damage if you can sit there and keep smacking left and right. But Power Evil was very bad at moving around the map and getting these stacks for himself. He never took Rift Scuttlers. He
That's 2 stacks.
barely did anything in terms of jungle camps. You can just get an assist on the jungle minions and you get a stack, and he didn't do it. So very slow stacking for him. He needs to really change that if he wants to have an impact in this game.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Unicorns of Love Team Comp can help him out with that final game coming up here. So if you're on Twitter, you know, if you are Trigger Fingers, become Twitter Fingers. Hashtag H2K win if you're rooting for H2K, or
if you're looking for more games from the Hoved Arena in Stockholm, you need to give Unicorns of Love your power. We are loading up into Game 3, where H2K want to sweep the championship points and a foot in the door, the 2015 World Championships.
will we see the Unicorns put emphasis on Rift Scuttlers, camps, and Dragons? Dragon gives you 5 stacks, you get a Scuttler on the way out, and get another camp that's 10 stacks immediately. Or, you know, simply kill and assist, I believe, give you stacks as well. So, we might see a bloodbath come out.
But it's still a slow one for Power Evil. It's a slow scaling mid lane. He's gone back to that once again. So you have now this setup for Unicorns of Love that needs time to be effective outside the Nidalee in the jungle. So Horo needs to do everything. They've changed the level 1 strategy. Now they're setting up a trap because H2K, both games, invaded into the jungle. Odo Amne, you're going to have to face check.
Watch for concussive blows. Watch for Braum passive.
Do it! Do it! Do it!
Oh, he won it!
The
That was so
ward!
smart.
How valuable is that ward? Ryu started playful and trickster in H2K.
Why would you stand at the edge of that brush when you're about to face tech? If just Braum passive gets applied, you can immediately stun somebody. Right now, Unicorns, they're chasing. That's what I want to see. Get that Winter's Bite down. Follow up with auto attacks.
Anti-climax. But no deep vision.
No greed. What's going on?
Where were the
blind
flashes?
Big team fight level 1. Didn't happen. 1 CS for Vardax though.
Vardax, the superior AD carry. Yeah, completely out-CSing across the board here. Gold lead for Unicorns.
So, again, when it comes to Unicorns and their comp here, where Kayle can work, this hurts a lot to say, is against the Fizz. When it comes to like Fizz, is so reliant, like AP Fizz is so reliant on apply your ulti, get the damage percent, and then obviously trickster in onto that target. Like that's your burst combo. Kayle ulti is gonna stop that. It's gonna stop the one shot from happening later on.
Fizz will obviously need a couple levels before he can really start using that combo of you dashing and aggressively jumping out. Power Evil using that advantage. He gets the pressure for the first time, I believe, today. He's actually pressuring mid early. If you look at the compositions as well, Unicorns of Love now have the Tristana. That was on the side of H2K before. H2K always amassed a tower lead in these lane swaps. Can the Unicorns do the same?
Can they manage to not fall behind in lane swaps? We have seen the last game where they didn't want to fast push a tower, even though H2K were doing it, ended up basically just doing nothing on the map. Recall too late, open up for deep vision for H2K. One thing as well about this push from Power of Evil, it enables the Nidalee to invade into the jungle. Play that aggressive style you want to use, and we can already see how Unicorns of Love should at least be moving in, but instead they're just backing away. So right now they're not doing anything on the map.
So Power Evil gets the push. He gets back up from his team. They're watching him pushing that wave instead of going for their jungle. Because what Unicorns of Love should do is clean the remaining part of their jungle, then move to top wave. Threaten the 3v0 dive so he can at least get that tower first. They're letting Vardex push on his own. Hylissang has done absolutely nothing so far. He's pathing into the river and back, but the jungle's empty. Mid lane is 1v1, so far H2K just allocating their resources better than Unicorns of Love.
And think back to the last game where Odo Omnis saw he had a free lane. He instantly just teleported to the lane and got the 1v1. The reason he didn't do it this time around was because the rest of H2K were out of vision. They were hiding, I say they were in the river. There was no wards for H2K, so he didn't know exactly where they were in the map, if they were sitting ready to dive him. That's why he didn't teleport. Now with Tristana, you can take down the tower pretty fast, so we might just see a trade from both teams.
It looks to be the case. UOL were unable to make that trade in the first game of the series. Playful trickster forward from Ryu. He's a little low on mana, but here comes Lulex. Defensive early flash from Power of Evil. He sidesteps a Sonic Wave. There's a teleport coming in from Busy Chachi. He dredge lines onto Lulex. Double buffs are tasty, but here's a reply teleport from Odo Wamne. Odo.
Flash torn.
There's a flash away. Sonic Wave up. Lulex continues to chase a little aggressively. First blood to H2K.
And this is one of those cases where a mistake gets made 2 minutes ago and it manifests itself 2 minutes later. Unicorns of Love were consistently one step behind in this race. Eventually, that opens up one move first for H2K. That was the gank in the mid lane. Horo was nowhere close. He was slightly underleveled and catching up to Lulex. Lulex was pathing efficiently. He gets mid first. Notice how Ryu went in with E. Lulex jumped to him. Then Ryu queued away. He allowed his jungler to close the gap, forced the flash from Power of Evil. And again, pressure on PoE when he's running this late game scaling carry. And honestly, just oversteps his boundaries. All he needs to do is get Devour, start stacking up, and just don't go for these fights.
But also just very greedy in terms of his own warding in that lane. You know 4 guys on the bottom side of the map, so there's only one way they can gank you, that's from that bottom side. He sat on that trinket ward, and it's still available for him. He didn't use it. You gotta place that one down in the river, and then you know you stay to the top side, and you should have an easy path away, because you should spot when the gank is coming.
Yeah.
Well, the timer for that Devourer is on the clock. 2 Doran's rings for Power of Evil. I want to see how quickly he can start building those stacks up. Guys have a small farm lead over Ryu, but obviously Ryu picked up first blood, so that's going to be more beneficial. Lulex going to hold Odo Wamne's hand, shoving the wave into Chachi.
And that is one advantage for Visichachi now in the top lane. The wave was very slowly pushing towards him. Ends up even missing a few to CS, so they're going to be fairly even on that one. Not even that big of an advantage. We see the trade down bottom lane though.
Defensive flash from Kasing. Lantern's actually going to pull Hyanan back, and Vardex and Hylissang, they play aggressive in that lane.
Yeah, you can't, if you juke sideways, you can't afford to play closer. Hylissang gets pulled out of jump.
Prediction.
Ryu's roaming though, top left of your screen. Watch him coming.
He doesn't have access to chum the waters. Hylissang's managed to make it out. Vardex flash and heal available. He's going to flash the point for
too late.
Ryu. Did not manage to connect. The Lantern is up looking for an assist. The stun! There's no tower to fall back to. Hyanan finds a kill with a boomerang.
Ryu wanted to follow the flash after his tricks line. He would connect the damage, but he just did it slightly too late, so didn't get the damage. Down onto Vardex. Will get him down though, due to the fact there was no tower. And Unicorns were playing aggressive in a lane with no... I mean, they should have had vision of where Ryu was, because the mid lane has been pushed all the time.
Problem for them, they were being backed up by Horo, but Horo went left, right, up and down, but didn't even come close to entering that fight, so wasted pressure. Lulex adding way more for his team so far. Horo's underleveled as well, so again touching on that jungle matchup, where Lulex was successfully shadowing Odo Wamne in top, allowing him to push in that wave. Horo failed to do that for his team initially as well. The gank from Lulex put Ryu ahead in the mid lane. That allowed Ryu to roam to the bot lane, so H2K are moving their resources, just outsmarting and outplaying the Unicorns of Love on the map.
Talking about resources, Hyanan's going to start building up gold at an accelerated rate. Pickaxe into that Avra's Blade. Already got a CS advantage over Vardex thanks to the early lane assignments and just how H2K played it out. Kasing, Odo, and Hyanan now grouping up to try shove in this top wave. Chachi and Horo are nearby, but they're not making a move yet.
So after the fight down bottom lane, H2K had the wave pushing up towards Vardex. You can see him sit down here near his own tier 2 tower to clear out the wave. So they knew he couldn't move away. He didn't want to recall and lose everything. One of the reasons they can swap Hyanan to the top side. Don't want him to try and overextend for anything and keep maximized farm on him. It does set Odo Wamne a little bit behind, but he will return to the bottom lane and get that big wave Vardex is pushing into him.
Hylissang and Horo, they're actually going aggressive here. Kasing, is he going to get caught by those concussive blows? This is a 3v3. Dragon's Rage has already been used. Lantern Shield is blocking some damage. Horror's looking for more. Lantern's going to pull, he looks out. Ryu is going to look for Chum the Waters. It connects onto Horo. Chachi goes down. Boomerang, double kill Yarned.
How is Ryu allowed to leave this lane again and again? The babysitter Power Weaver sitting there watching him and then looks away for a few seconds and Ryu is long gone. He gets another kill now. He's roaming with his team. And all Power Weevil is getting is the damage on this mid tower.
And the answer just lies in the superior vision control. We see Tristana slowly pushing in the bot lane, just scared of potential people showing up. She should be fast pushing top lane. Shield comes out too late from Vizichachi, from Hylissang on that Braum as well. They're overcommitting, they're leaving Hjarn untouched. Even if Ryu wasn't here, they would have lost that engage simply on a 3v3. So just, they're not thinking ahead of themselves, Unicorns of Love. They're buying into the chaos and they're drowning in it.
And this really is one of the problems about this Runeglaive, Devour Kale. The fact that you're now sitting on a jungle item which effectively barely offers you anything other than the smite you can use. So there's no threat really from Power Weaver other than pushing it. So Ryu can just freely walk away. He's like, well, I don't care about you. I'm just going to walk out of this lane. And then he goes top, joins for another fight.
And H2K win that fight convincingly. H2K trying to defend their bottom tower. Odoamne is under a lot of pressure from Vardags. Fans still in favor of Vardags and the Unicorns. But as it stands, 2,500 gold down before we've hit 10 minutes and a group in the bottom lane. I think we're going to see another fight.
Hylissang goes in, gets taunted, Lux falls up. Here's Horo for the counter gank.
Good bait.
Let's see, Hylissang is in retreat. Yarnan has arrived.
Ryu's starting to move from the mid lane already, so there's a timer on this play. Stand
United!
United!
Lulex with the plays! Finds a kill. Odoamne is going to look for a taunt. Catches Vardags out. Yarnan is gifted his 4th kill. Lulex follows the resonating strike up. He's still looking for Horo. Horo's in full retreat. Sonic Wave has gone back in. Another one for Lulex. Power of Evil may get himself a reply. Ward hop away. Challenging Smite for the slow and the true damage. And Lulex makes it out clean.
His mind, his body, and his team are telling him yes. Fish goes wide.
Oh, Power of Evil, you're next. He's going to put down the intervention. It will not be enough. And the kill!
This is all Lulex. This early game has been all Lulex. He's been everywhere. He's been ganking the lanes. He's been counter-ganking. He's chasing for the kills, setting up that Shen TP as well. What a beautiful setup from a guy who's been so heavily criticized coming into this playoffs.
Ding, ding, ding. Round 3, and Lulex knocks Unicorns of Love out. Dragon secured, 8 kills to 0. 7 of them Lulex has been involved in. And a 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, this all started when H2K were 2 towers up to 1. Sivir against Tristana in a lane swap. That should never happen. At worst, you should be even. And it just shows that the Unicorns weren't ready to adapt in picks and bans. They steal away the twist, but they don't play to their strengths. If you let yourself be out-pushed as a team on a map with a scaling mid laner like that, usually you speed up the early game with the added global gold in the lane swap. So you're fine playing late game carries if you can just trade tower for tower, maybe for Dragon, but they're not doing that. They're not achieving that. And then Luix, yeah, he's completely out-jungling Horo this game.
It's just the same problem again and again and again. This time you have a very, very slow scaling mid laner. He has the pushing advantage, and yet Ryu gets to leave the lane all the time. So whenever Ryu leaves, Horo can just be in a position to walk mid, and Power Weaver calls, okay, come mid, take mid tower, straight away. Back away side lanes, don't fight, don't risk anything. Let me just push this tower. Again and again and again. Unicorns didn't have to force anything in the side lanes because Power Weaver was scaling in mid.
When you've got to use a buster shot on Gromp to stay alive, there are problems.
There are many
not
problems.
fully focused, not fully paying attention to the game. And Unicorns, if they lose this game, they are behind H2K in championship points. And if Fnatic win tomorrow, it means H2K goes to Worlds. One step in the door.
One more game, one more victory away from that. And looking how this H2K want to close. Spell shield on Hjarnan here, and they're settling down in what they want to do here. This 1-3-1 push on the bottom, maybe rotate Fizz down to the middle for extra pressure. Once these mid tower falls, H2K, they want to settle into a 1-3-1 split push. They have their mid lane assassin on Ryu, which they rotate to the bot lane. They have a wave killer AD carry on Hjarnan. They put him in the mid lane, and then they have a global presence or double global presence on Odoamne. They can put in either side lane. That's the way they want to close out this game. That opens up for potential picks from the Unicorns of Love. But it's going to be hard. They don't have the hard engage on Hylissang right now. He's more peel disengage.
Unicorns simply don't have an option to make picks this game compared to before. Because if you look at what H2K has to defend themselves, Spell Shield from Yanin is going to make it very tough for Chachi potentially to land anything onto him. We saw the hook before. We have Fizz jumping around with Trickster, so that's going to be a tough one. Kale offers a slow, but that's the only CC if you want to go gank here in the side lane. So it's extremely difficult for Unicorns to even create that pick. So we're just sitting here where H2K can slowly, if they don't read, that is, take over the entire map, wait for deep vision, and wait for Unicorns to be out of position, and then punish them.
And you can see how much pressure H2K are putting. Oduwamne up top. We've got Ryu, fairly well farmed at the moment down in the bottom lane. And obviously Kasing and Hyanan applying pressure on that last remaining outer turret. It's the last key before breaking into UOL's jungle completely. Although maybe it may not even be needed. Look at that map.
Oro found the way up top, connects past the ward. Spear goes in for the jump. Oduwamne is going down. He'll have to taunt out, but he has no energy. When the spear connects, he's down. But in the mid lane, reaction.
Well, we do see Chum the Waters come out. Losing Odo for that tower, H2K will be happy with the trade.
It's always worth it to trade one kill for a tower, because again, you already have the lane pressure. All you're looking for is just keep taking down outer turrets, so the entire map belongs to you. The more turrets you get, the further you push the team down to their own base, well, the less of their jungle they can obviously take. And now Lulex, he's gonna get
Nice Horo. Denied. Lulex has a fantastic game while he's in here. Picked it almost every game, and he's obviously happy.
The grin on Lulex's face when he picked that kill up.
It's one of those games where everything you do works. It's obviously set up by the deep vision, by the fact you've been pushing all the lanes at once. Oduwamne upgrade your trinket once you hit level 9, then he can start warding up the top side. You have Sidestone on 2 members who can roam freely around from H2K. Everything should belong to them. And Power of Evil, he's still waiting to scale, and he's on a Devour kill. If she loses the control of her own jungle, there's less options to get Devour stacks.
If you're watching at home and you don't quite know how many stacks PoE has, yes, 2.
Yay!
28 remaining. By that time, Lulex may have 37.
He wants to keep it.
Skull Crab gets denied here by his teammates.
Find out who secures it.
Kasing.
Kasing gets caught, the flay comes out, the box is down. Vardex did go in aggressively. Kasing is going to get taken out. The Glacial Fisher was put down, but they've traded support. Chum the Waters is out. Vardex is going to get caught up in the intervention. Used to keep him alive. Pull back in. UOL are 5,000 gold down, but they are trading 1-for-1 in the jungle.
Yeah, this type of fights you want to have. You know, Braum goes down, still applies passive. Glacial Fisher comes out, disengage. People waste their ultimates on the support, and then you can flank with the kill. Consistent damage coming out. However, H2K disengage. This time they don't greed.
We got to see one of the reasons Power of Evil wanted to play this Kale in this matchup here. The fish came in from Ryu, denied all the damage, denied the one-shot potential on your own AD carry. And that's what he can keep doing over and over. So as long as Unicorns are together as friends, you know, love, they're together here, then they can team fight and they can win.
The power of friendship. Also that massive sword when he swings left and right and just claps them in the face.
People like
that is definitely
beautiful.
Something you want. What you don't want to be is 4,000 gold down. And that's where the Unicorns are right now. Dragon coming up in 30 seconds will be the second Dragon for H2K. Can actually start building towards that aspect win condition. Should the game go late, we have no reason to assume it will, except the last 2 games.
Relatively anyway. But for H2K, they've hit themselves a few item spikes. Odo got that Sunfire, building some MR as well. Ryu's still yet to complete one sort of top tier item, but he's only about 400 gold down. Power of Evil, despite being 40 CS down. The assists and the global gold from the towers playing into his favor. And with Dragon up and the strength of H2K, UOL are going to be very, very brave if they try to challenge this.
With that Dragon, they deny Power of Evil a potential 5 stacks. He is still sitting on 2 stacks, because Lulex just counter jungle the Wolf as well. That leaves only the Grump available on the side of the map that PoE is playing on. You have to remember that. Yes, you have potential stacks all across the map, but if you can't reach them, if you get choked out vision-wise, counter jungle, denied, zoned away, you're never gonna quench that thirst. You're never gonna get that Seder Devour, and then it's gonna be hard. Lulex takes the Grump. Power of Evil looks away.
Oro is also committing to some scaling. Going to work towards that Rod of Ages as we see H2K settling into what is going to be the norm, I feel, for the next few minutes. Shen with TP and almost stand united up top. Ryu trying to pull some attention down bottom and just leave Hyanan, Mr. Wave Clear Ultimate Deluxe on Sivir to maintain control of the middle of the map.
It's the same setup for H2K. We talked about it before. We saw what happens when we have the 5-on-5 team fights, how there is a chance at least for Unicorns to pull it back into this game. We haven't seen the same greedy plays from H2K. It's been a lot more calculated. It's been honestly a lot about Lulex. Whenever he felt like, I'm gonna go kill someone, he went for it and he managed to pull it off. And that's been really the biggest change for H2K in this game.
And I think it all goes down to the early couple of minutes of this game where UOL were behind, just 30 seconds or so, opened up for one gank in the mid lane that Lulex and Ryu, with good synergy, made work. Ever since, Ryu was able to leave mid lane first. If you're playing an aggressive jungler and you know you have the backup from your mid laner first, it opens up for so much place. You know, you're liberated, you're so free in doing whatever you want.
The worst thing was, when Ryu left that mid lane, it was in the face of Power Ryu. He just walked out of the lane. And yet, fights kept on going inside lanes. He was like, see ya, went bot, got a kill for himself, or an assist at least. And that really helped H2K snowball. There was no response. There was no counterplay from UOL saying, okay, let's just put Horo in the mid lane, 2v0, push this tower, and take that down early.
And we just see with H2K putting pressure, stealing away the jungle camps again. Power of Evils cannot stack that Devour. He's still on 2 stacks. He got that 4 minutes ago because the jungle is not his.
Now, getting a fully stacked Devour is a luxury for the mid lane kill. It is needed, but it's not 100% needed to reach a late game where you can deal proper damage. It just delays everything you do because now you're looking at 3-4 items fully completed before you become a massive threat. And that's the whole concern. It's why Devour junglers, we barely see them. He will get a Grom. Yay!
3 stacks, everybody.
Look how happy that Wolf is as well.
Oh, blue buff. Suddenly, Power of Evil looking to at least double his stacks here. Anytime now.
Hey!
He just doubled his stacks. He's well on his way.
26 to Sated. Now, we should mention, H2K have got all outer towers. Yes, they've got themselves a 5,000 gold lead, but for the last 8 minutes, Unicorns of Love have not given up more. They are losing control. They are losing pressure, yes, but they are still holding on to their inner turrets.
The thing is, the last time we were in a similar situation, H2K actually greeted and they gave away much more. H2K doing this is perfectly acceptable. Keep the lead as is because eventually you have complete control of the map. Everybody's accounted for with wards. What do? You peel back and you go for the Baron.
Yeah, because you don't have a siege comp. You're not looking to try and walk in and have Unicorn sit in massively or wave play everything so easily. That's just pushing farm to them. So wait for Baron to spawn, start setting up vision around it, keep your 1-3-1 going, but obviously put Ryu on the top side because she has no teleport. And now you can really start being aggressive.
Well, the vision seems to be in place for that play. But Chachi, he's going to step close. Yarnan's been caught out, man. We're actually on the hunt. Stand United comes in. Chachi hits the wrong wall. That's not what you wanted. Ryu's arrived as well. H2K are in there for the party. They've got their 11th kill and they want another tower.
And this is exactly what we are talking about. You're not looking to siege, you're looking to pull back, threaten these objectives, say to Unicorns of Love, we are killing your vision. You have no idea of where we are. Eventually you overreach on the hunt. Stand United. Easy peasy. Kill the Nautilus.
I like that way of engaging though. Like 80 carry, go! And then we just Shen ulti onto you and we will get to someone. They managed, I think they blocked Mr. Chachi's hook. He ended up basically moving nowhere. I'm not sure if he hit the wall or it was like the Shen coming down.
Yarnan and Ryu just make for perfect Shen delivery systems, and that's all you need at this point in the game. If you're this far ahead, you can face tank, and even if they kill Yarnan, there's so much more damage following up. And again, now they can step backwards. Look at the vision. Hylissang had to take a detour, the scenic route to Summoner's Rift and sneak a couple of wards in, but he couldn't get the Skull Crab, so eventually they'll be caught out. And they saw him as well on the pink ward, so H2K is aware of what's going on.
5 stacks, Power of Evil. He's getting a few jungle camps. It's just way too late for him to have an impact on the game. Chachi will get attacked one more time.
Ryu's going to be tanking out the turret. Playful Trickster to break the turret aggro, but Lulex gets caught by Dredgeline. Here comes Hyanin. Unicorns of Love have pulled enough members to defend the tower and dissuade the dive.
At the same time, Power of Evil is split pushing on the top lane. He can push it that wave instead of sieging the tower. He can take those juicy jungle camps. Gromp and Wolves available to him. Get more stacks. This was a greedy play and not what H2K were building towards. They had completely control in terms of vision, but they gave it up for a dive on a tier 2 tower on a tank.
And we have to also call out the fact that Power of Evil has got 210 CS at 21 minutes. Yes, that Sated Devour is slow, but he's farming up a lot of gold.
But this is what we just talked about. Getting that fully stacked is the bonus. That's the luxury as the mid lane kill. You still have great scaling into late game. It just takes longer, but with that farm, now he gets another one, slowly speeding it up.
And what I want to highlight is that Scuttle Crab, yes, 2 stacks, that's nice, but it just buys them time for the next Baron bait. H2K completely gave up control of the map, and that's what it means in League of Legends right now. One small mistake can cost you so much momentum. You build for 3-4 minutes to set up these plays. Yes, they might get a dragon here, 3rd dragon of the game, but
Pulling the wrong piece out when you're playing Jenga.
yeah.
Please, Ryu, why are you on the top side right now? Please go down to the bottom side. You want to contest this dragon. You want to get the 3rd one. So you want to make sure that once you sit on 4 dragons that have the potential number 5, you don't care about the fact that Power Evil still wants to scale or the Tristana. Then you force them to that fight. So take it. Ryu has moved down. That's great. We see how the Shin is always moving on the opposite side of the map where H2K is focusing on an objective. Go stop the Baron now.
Unicorn setting up for a bit of a Baron bait. They obviously don't know about that pink ward and the ward in the back. Also, Vardax finished the red buff without giving an assist to Power of Evil. Not a team player. He's selfish.
And you just got to wonder how much experience they have with getting this Sated Devourer Kale stack, because it was the same deal with Fnatic. At the moment, Unicorns of Love in a little bit of trouble. Chachi not going to be able to get out. He
That's a
flashes,
tank, though.
but he's got kicked backwards. Kill credits to Kasing as we see Power of Evil swinging furiously from the side. Teleport is up, 25 seconds before Chachi is alive.
Oh,
Gets
nice
entered,
hook.
connects, the taunt follows,
Heal
but
for Braum.
Hillsong is blocking so much damage. Glacial Fish is going to slow everybody down. Unicorns of Love may have defended the tower. Vortex has got one. He's rocket jump forward, but Ryu's going to land on his head with Playful Trickster. Reckoning comes out. Vortex again. Flashes forward. That's a double kill. Vortex may be able to do more. 2 members of H2K are down. They are in full retreat, and Unicorns are looking for more. They're looking for Baron. There's a teleport from Chachi.
And this is why I absolutely love Braum as a support pick. Who connects on Horo. Hylissang jumps in front, put up the Voltor. Glacier Fisher comes out, Peel, resulting in a Baron attempt. Can they steal it though?
Lulex is nearby here. He's on the other side of the Baron. Hylissang landing the hook, but look here for Lulex.
We'll have to find out. Kasing's got himself a kill into Hylissang.
Missed the Q.
2,000 hit points on Baron. The fight's breaking out.
Stand United!
The numbers arrived. It's 2. It's 3 kills for H2K. And Baron's low. Vortex will be able to help get one before being taken out. Chachi's got the kill credit. 4 down. That's the ace.
Unicorns of Love managed to defend the tower. They used the Kale ult, they used the Braum so well. H2K diving in there, got punished for it, but then we're still very early in the game and Unicorns are still very far behind. So they start the Baron, but H2K is strong enough to stay around it, and with all this damage taken from it and the threat of Lulex, it's just so difficult.
Miscommunication on the side of UOL. They're looking at Lulex, but at the same time, Hjarn is whacking away. Hylissang is putting up the shield for defensive peel. That could have allowed a 3-second window where they could have focused the Baron. Instead, half the team was trying to deal with Hjarn, half the team was watching Lulex, and in the middle of all that, Baron was doing AoE damage. Eventually, they crumble. Miscommunication yet again by the Unicorns.
This is the second time today we have seen the Unicorns of Love start Baron, look for where Lulex is, and put all the attention and focus on him. Remember, this is a team, Power Evil gets to stack more. This is a team that has no... Okay, fair enough. This is a team that has no shot caller. Okay, everyone is making the calls, everyone is calling. Kill the wolf.
Sorry to fish.
Sweden, Jag älskar dig. This is fantastic.
9,000 gold down. 9 kills down. 3 towers, 3 dragons. Unicorns of Love could not be in a more difficult situation. And now they need to look for one more fantastic fight. 16 stacks on that Sated Devourer.
One more
Slowly
fight.
growing.
Or 7 Rift Scuttlers for that Sated Devour. And then one more fight.
Let's see H2K go back to the 1-3-1. You got TP advantage now. Push up that bottom lane. Oh, the wave is already pushing for you. You can put the Shin there right now. His ulti will be ready in time before fight should break out. Instead, though, they're keeping him mid. So they are allowing Unicorns at least to group and shove out one wave. It looks like Ryu wants to go back and shove anyway.
And Vardax, even though he's sitting on 2 items, before he was playing Triforce BT Corki, no damage. Now he has IH Phantom Dancer Tristana. That's probably one of the most lethal 2-item combinations in the game on 80 carries. If he connects then with that Winter's Bite from Braum, gets the passive out. The crowd do the thing. That requires Hylissang to not get caught though.
Sham the Waters is Playful Trickster's going to go in. Horo's down. Hylissang will follow quickly after. H2K looking for more. They've got 2 kills. Power of Evil does have intervention, but it won't be enough to save everybody's life. Their sentence goes wide, but it just does not matter. Another kill for Hyanin. Kill credit will go to Oduwamne onto Chachi. And Vardags in a 1v5 now has to try defend.
And it's just so simple for H2K whenever they want to start the fight. Sivir, first pick. It wasn't banned away this time. Pop the ulti, use Shen. Ryu just jumps in on his own. He has Hourglass. He can easily dive the back line. And Unicorns of Love, while they can block a lot of damage, they have no way of really disengaging from this.
They have to fully commit to these fights. It works when you're under a tower, when they jump on your jungler, and then Hylissang can come deny the damage. But when he's the prime focus of H2K, things get rough. Horo spots out Ryu here on that Fizz, but he wants to steal. Will H2K make the same mistake as they did before in the series? Hylissang catches the fish.
Baron's actually going low now. It should be secured by H2K. It doesn't look like anybody's going to be able to secure this. Baron's still up. They've not killed the Baron. H2K have peeled out. They've pushed Unicorns away, and that will be the space that they need. Ryu's low as his horn. Flash from Hylissang. He's going to be able to get one. Baron was secured. Intervention used to keep Vardags up. Oduwamne is so low. Lulix as well. Rocket Jump comes forward. Rocket Jump again. It's going to look for Kasing. Defensive play. H2K get Baron, lose 3, and UOL have 30 seconds.
H2K wanted to delay the Baron, didn't want to risk a steal, so they wanted to push Unicorns away, but it meant Ryu took so much damage, he had to like kite around on his own, and H2K, they split up. UOL, they returned, and now they can smack down tower.
And this is the first time I've seen UOL play well around their AD carry Vardags. They put the Gale ultimate on top of him, say go ham or go home. Hylissang jumps in front, puts up the shield. So much peel for Vardags, and he's finally dealing damage. 5 kills here on him right now, 2 assists as well, and he's looking to finish his 3rd item. Dragon's alive, Scutler's gonna go down.
30 minutes into the game. If Unicorns can get this Dragon, now is when that buff is effective. 6%. Hylissang is going to look for Hyanin. Vardags looking for him. The stun. One more hit is all they need, but Vardags has been able to get away. Oduwamne is left in the middle of UOL. Intervention is available. It's used on Vardags. Defensive play from Ryu. He's gone over the wall. Stand United's being channeled. UOL are still together. Oduwamne is here. They've got Power of Evil though. Look at Vardags on the right-hand side of your screen. He's trying to get away with his life. He's going to rocket jump over the wall. It's a 1 for 3. Defensive flash from Horo. Vardags going to use the base gate to get away. And they do get away, but Dragon interrupted.
There are 2 Swedish AD carries in this game, and they both really want to win. They're trying to carry their teams. Vardags tried before. Now it was Hyanin on Sivir. Triple kill. 11, 1, and 10 in this game.
Nexus turret is down. H2K, they want to finish right now. They're on to Nexus turret number 2. H2K, they want the clean sweep. They got Baron empowered minions. They're going to turn for Vardags, and they will find him. It's Jordan. 13, 1, and 10. They're on the Nexus. H2K, 3-0 the Unicorns.
These explosive mid-games, with the blink of an eye, suddenly the game can end. It just tells you if the Unicorns' early game was just a little bit better, we could have went all the way to game 5 with H2K. Fantastic early game. Every game managed to accrue a lead. A couple thousand gold, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 gold. Not girls.
Oh.
I wish. 5,000 gold in the lead, and that man right there, he should be happy.
H2K had a better early game and a better pick and ban phase. Yep. If we look at all 3 games here. And Unicorns of Love, while they tried the hardest to always claw their way back into these games here, it often relied on H2K being a little bit too greedy. This game here, it was a little bit more relaxed for them. And then Lulix just showed up big time when it really mattered for them.
The Unicorns of Love, the early deficits and the weaknesses in their picks and bans have been a problem all throughout playoffs, arguably all throughout summer split. And unfortunately for them, they were exploited by H2K, who have a very good early game. And when they get to play their game, they get the lead. For H2K, they are now very, very close to a World Championship spot. If Fnatic win tomorrow, H2K are in. They take the championship points, seed number 2. And game 3 was all about that man.
He can be happy. After that performance on Lee Sin, he was everywhere, part of all the kills in the early game except for 1.
The only other player that I've seen play that confidently in this era, at least in the Western world, is Rush. Rush and Lee Sin last weekend, very similar thing. He knew he could get a kill, went for it. And Lulix did that all the time. And for a man that's got so much criticism and has a sub here waiting backstage, I think that's got to feel good to step up and deliver.
This is the cool thing, though, when you play in front of a big crowd. If you have a good start, like you get that first kill going for you, you can just get so hyped. Also, it can backfire for H2K a few times, maybe being a little bit too greedy. But this one, it was controlled from Lulex whenever he went in. Timed it with the Shen ulti as well, so effectively.
Yeah, I feel like when we look at the series as a whole, it really was the same story over and over. And we saw very similar mistakes and very similar patterns. I would like to have these coaches sit back a little and talk to the players about resolving them mid-series, but it's something we'll have to explore at another time, because right now we're going to head on stage where Pulse is going to be chatting to Kasing and the local hero, Hyanin.
Thank you, Quick Sean. I'm joined by Kasing and Hyanin after that incredible series. Now, first off, Hyanin, did you feel like you had a home field advantage here? Because no one can deny you played out of your mind today.
I just know that... Yeah, I really wanted to go to World, so yeah, I felt like I had to step up a bit today.
Just really wanted to go to Worlds. Now, Kasing, you guys have been criticized a little for maybe losing your strategic edge, but do you feel that H2K have returned to the point when you first joined the team? Have they found that spark once again?
Well, since we won like at third place again, so I guess, yeah, like we actually won for once. But yeah, I feel like everyone played super good, especially Hyanin. But don't think he could have done that without my fresh, but still. He played really, really good though, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, it was an incredible series. Now, Hyanin, looking at your team right now, in that series, Unicorns of Love, they can throw a lot of curveballs. We saw the KO come out once again, and we saw the Gangplank as well. How did you adapt to that, and how was it so easy for you to take that 3-0?
I think Gangplank was quite annoying, but the Kale was like, he started to split and we just look for places around the map, and that's not as hard to play against if he doesn't get super fed, so I think Gangplank was the hardest to play against of those two.
Yeah, well, for sure. Now, last one here, Kasing, you were talking about how important this series is to you, and now that you've won it, you're so close to the Worlds right now. You've secured at least a first seed in the regionals, and if Fnatic win tomorrow, you will be in Worlds. What did this series mean to you?
Well, I just think hashtag Fnatic win. That's all I can say. But I can't really explain in words how happy I am right now, because there's still one more step until, yeah, my actual dream is like comes true. So.
Well, one last step. Once again, congratulations, gentlemen, on that win. We're going to throw it over to the analysts to take a look at that series.
Well, FNC win or OG win, that's tomorrow. But today it was H2K win in 3-0, which funnily enough ends them up in the same position they were in when the spring playoffs rolled around. Let's see what we can take out of this series for both teams, though. Starting maybe with the Unicorns of Love as well, and pick some bans. And, well, it's the story we've been telling. The AD carry and the bans that they could focus on the mid lane has told this entire series.
I feel like Vardags and Tristana did a good job.
Yeah.
I'm happy that both Swedish players actually really stepped up, went back to their Swedish roots, played like Vikings, really, you know, really pushed for it. For Valhalla, you know? And with that in mind, it's like the KO is the thing that I need to criticize, because the thing with Devour is you want to get sated, but you leave your dependent on how the team is doing. Because in this series, like Horo, if you just take a look at this series, he looked kind of bad as well. But usually, like a jungler has to be judged based on how the team is doing. And the team is doing well, Lu is going to do well as well. So that's really important to keep in mind.
Yeah, a lot of people stepping up in that team, but one person in particular looking at the game through all 3 games overall, and we'd like to highlight the OP play of H2K's AD carry, Hjarnan. He is our player of the series with a 25.5 KDA and 82% kill participation. Well, a lot of people did really well on H2K, almost everybody, but here to take that home crowd advantage and take it to the next level, even though Vardax also showed his best, that is nice thing.
Yes, I mean, Hjarnan stepping up big time. Kasing wanted to put himself in there with the whole, couldn't do it without my Thresh. Well, there were a lot of plays that Hjarnan made without Thresh by his side, but, you know, good to see Hjarnan back up to this top form that we've seen him in before. It's been a little while, I have to feel, since Hjarnan's put on a performance like that.
I'm really happy that usually when I looked at Hjarnan, I saw him as consistent and he pushed his limit to 80%. But in this series, he pushed what his champion could do to 99.9%. I'm not ready to say 100% because, yeah, but still, this series was really, really good from Hjarnan.
And I think just from H2K in general, there was a big improvement over what we saw against Origin, specifically from kind of the warding synergy. Lulex had about 35% more wards placed in this game. He finally started buying Sightstone. Kasing bought 39 pinks in 3 games to Hylissang's 10. What H2K did was put down the wards, control the vision, and punished Unicorns for the most part. There were a couple of slip-ups here and there, but it was a good adaptation by H2K. We'll now have to see whether they can continue that growth.
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction for H2K. We do want to highlight something from the UOL side of things. You guys at home were calling out your own big plays, and at Lucas Nees tweeted, he does it again. Here is your LCS big play of the day.
Who will it be? Unicorns, they're too late to this party. Baron is going to go down shortly. Horo's coming in. Secured by Baron Evil. Unicorns of Love may be able to do something with this.
I was sitting here, actually, we can cheat a little bit because you can watch on the actual in-game. I was like, it's gonna happen again. And it did. It's incredible, and at least they got that to take away from it. A little bit of magic is still there, but for the Unicorns in general, it's just not enough. All in all, they still have the gauntlet to run through. Do you think that there are things that they can fix in time for that to make it to Worlds? And again, that question comes into part, would they be a good representative in that?
Ooh, that's a big question. Can they fix it? Because we've asked this question time and time again. Can they fix these issues?
Yeah,
Can they fix it? They come week to week, still no Kalista. I mean, I feel like it's been enough weeks. The last time we saw it was week 4. That's enough time to put that champion
Maybe it's too
in your
early
arsenal.
for them.
Like I feel always my biggest criticism for UOL is like I always like them. They're cool guys. They bring this like special flair to the league scene. But I feel like their playstyle does not work well long term.
Right.
And I feel they need probably like the rest between the seasons to fix all these issues because there's problems in lane swaps and picks. There's a lot of issues.
I think the biggest problem is the playstyle of Unicorns that people like to dub different names is not actually a style. It's their opponents making a mistake and allowing Unicorns to make picks, to make anything that they can on the map. It works well against teams that are below you. The teams above you will make a couple of mistakes, and if you can capitalize on them, sometimes they'll end up in a win. But on a world stage, those opportunities are not going to come up very often. So Unicorns have to make their own play better before they can look to contend on that stage.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that is fair, and that is third place settled here. Just one match left before our playoff bracket is complete, so let's take a look at it. Of course, Fnatic and Origin, they will go at it tomorrow for the Summer Championship and the #1 European seed at World. That also means with third place locked in, H2K will be watching closely. Kasing was saying it already, that he wants Fnatic to win, because H2K will then hold the highest number of championship points after Fnatic and go to Worlds. If OG win, though, it's another story.
It is a different story, because then Origin will go in the first seed into Worlds from Europe. H2K will have the #1 seed for the regional qualifier, meaning there'd be one best of 5 away from a World spot, but it would not be guaranteed to them. Fnatic, in that point, would take the second seed based on points.
That does also mean that UOL is in there, of course, now in or will be in that scenario in the regional qualifier. How are you looking at your chances?
Revenge.
Revenge time. Well, we will see. That is coming up later, of course. But everything from championship points to regional qualifier seeding, it will be all locked in tomorrow as Fnatic face Origin in the title match for the European LCS Summer Championship. And after we settle the score here in Stockholm, it's North America's turn as they go live from Madison Square Garden, and Counter Logic Gaming goes up against TSM for the #1 spot in the NALCS. Everywhere we go.
TSM.
Team Sweden mid.
Team Sweden mid.
It's not Sweden, it's Danish, but you know, it's... He's European, we'll claim him, it's fine.
In any case, amazing matchups today, of course, in the NALCS as well. Tomorrow, 2 fantastic finals. Crazy stuff, and our coverage begins right here in Stockholm's Hovet Arena at 5 p.m. Central European Time. That is 8 a.m. Pacific. But until then, it is time to sign off and get ready for the North American LCS clash between Team Liquid and Impulse, which begins later today. From all of us here in Stockholm, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Hey, hey.
From Stockholm, Sweden, ladies and gentlemen, for a chance to make it to Worlds! H2K, or Unicorns of Love. This could be the first kill in Sweden, and Vizichachi is roasted by Odawane. Baron is going to go down shortly. Horo's coming in. Secured by Evil. Unicorns of Love may be able to do something with this. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Ryu's gone aggressive. He's down. Power of Evil. That's the Ari play Officio wanted. And that will sentence death to UOL in game 1.
You can make, get your passive, go get your passive. Go fight. Oh my god, they blew me up. Ryu's coming. Kill. Ryu's flanking. Shit. Go back now. Keep going. Oh, he didn't TP. Did not TP. Good job. Push.
Then we see the reset. Jan is looking for Bardak, and he's going to find him. That's going to be the quadra kill. Is he going to find the Penta? No, Power of Evil's run away. There's a cleanse of the charge. It hits. This might be a Penta.
It's Sweden! Jan could have gotten the Penta kill!
H2K 2-0 up! The fight's breaking out!
Stand United!
The round has arrived! It's 3 kills for H2K!
I go for kill. Okay. 2 seconds.
Okay.
Oh my god, that's so bad. Kill both of them. Midi him. Kill him first. Sorry. Midi him.
H2K 3-0! The